Hello everyone, this is Lien and welcome back to the Rachelle Anne Miller YouTube channel. Today I have a new tutorial for you guys featuring one of the newly released digital stamps. There are two out there for you currently that are newly released, and if you haven't seen them, definitely check out the Facebook page, the Instagram page. There is so much inspiration out there for you by the design team and by the one and only Rachelle as well. I am featuring today the Koala Christmas Tree. It's really cute, it's so adorable, this image. I decided to go with some simple coloring, mostly coloring just the image here, and then to create a bit of a glow in the background, I am later on going to add a bit of distress inks all around so that there is like a really bright, airy sky around this tree. Now for the koalas, I decided to go with the same coloring. I just switched the side where I added the shadows to have some sort of a centered kind of light source. So that's why I didn't show you all of the coloring of the second koala, because it's just exactly the same. Then for the tree, I wanted to give it a bit of interest. I'm not a really good freehand kind of colorist with Copics, but I'm just trying something here. For trees lately, what I have been doing to give it a bit of texture is to really work with lines. So normally when you look at a tree, you have these nerves that you can see on the stem of the tree, and I just really love that. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm using my darker markers to just randomly add a few of these lines, and then I'm using, as I normally do with a combination, the lighter colors to just blend that a bit out, not too much. There can be some stripes going on. It doesn't have to be a perfect blend here because you want that nature kind of look. So the more rough it is, the better. But at the same time, I'm just trying to have it subtle enough as well. So that's why I just tend to also use my other colors to blend it out a tiny bit. Now with my first attempt, I just found that my darkest color wasn't really showing up as much as I wanted to. So I ended up using this E59 as my darkest in the end to really add some more structure. So also underneath the koala, I'm trying to create some sort of shadow, not too much. It's a really adorable image and I don't want to take away from that. But I did, however, want to add a bit. And as you can see here, I'm using my lighter markers to just go just around, but I'm not trying to have a smooth blend or anything like that. I'm just trying to sort of have a mixture in between that dark marker and then a lighter one. So I did the same on the bottom half, and then I continue with the leaves. Now for the leaves, I'm going to do all the same colors. There was this other digital stamp and I cannot recall the name. It's with owls also in the tree. There also try to do a bit of texture, and there I actually used several combinations or colors on the leaves, and that was a really lovely end result. So I definitely think you can do the same here, or if you want to work with several greens, or if you're a bit in an autumn kind of theme, you can still play a bit with all those colors. I think anything really is possible, but for this card I ended up using the same greens on the leaves as well as on the wreath. So for the wreath, however, again, trying things out. It's not something that I do often, but I wanted to have again a bit of texture here, and so I ended up dabbing with my markers, the same markers as for the leaves, but I'm just adding all these dots, and I'm working my way from the areas where there is kind of an overlap with the koalas to create a bit of shadowing, and then I'm working my way through that combination that I had all around this wreath. Now I'm going to add 2 layers. For me personally, it's something that works. I am coloring on Type Perfect Coloring Paper, and personal opinion, I find that a second layer always helps me, and although I'm not trying to have a perfect blend either here, I still found that some of the colors faded a bit after the first layer, and that second layer really helped me emphasize all of those dots, the 3 different markers, So I just added that. And then light-wise, I don't know about you, I love seeing rainbows and such, but whenever I am decorating for Christmas, I tend to only have like the yellow lights. I really love that. It's subtle but bright as well, and I also tend to keep them light. There are also um, these lights that can change color or can like flicker. I like it clean and simple when it comes to my Christmas decorations. So I tend to do that, and then some candles and, well, a Christmas tree. This year I will have a Christmas tree, a big one. Beforehand, before moving to my house, I was in a tiny apartment, and so the 3 years that we lived there, we had like a tiny Christmas tree, and it was really adorable. And I'm not saying that I'm not getting a tiny one, but now that we have a house, I have decided that we will go all out with a Christmas tree, with a real one, because I love the smell of a Christmas tree. And I want to decorate it with yellow lights, like here. Now, to finish those lights off a bit, I ended up using a metallic jelly roll pen. I have had it for ages and I barely use it. It's really strange. But I thought it was a nice idea to have it here to hold those lights. And then for the sparkly things, I ended up using the same pink as I used on the bow, but then again adding all these dots again. And once that was done, I actually finished the coloring and I had to figure out what I was going to do exactly with this card. I ended up using the My Favorite Things A2 rectangle frames to help me cut this panel out, as well as to cut out a second frame. I wanted to have a white frame around everything, but I tend to die cut the frame also out of my panel that I colored so that I have the exact size, and then I can double up the frame with this one and then the white one. Now, as I said, to just give it a tiny bit of a background, I ended up taking some distressings, well, actually cracked pistachio, my favorite one, also a really fresh, bright one. And I just went around the edges. I didn't went around the edges where the tree necessarily ends. But as you can see, this is a really light ink, and I did some really light ink blending. We just have this glow. And so because of that, I didn't bother creating a mask because I wasn't going to overlap the whole image as just this glow. And then I am going to die cut the frame again. And then I had to figure out the sentiment. For the sentiment, I love this stem set. It's the Joyful Greetings from Mama Elephant. And the beauty about this stem set is that there are matching dies. And for me personally, that's just a joy, because I am one of those card makers that starts with a card, doesn't figure out where the sentiment is going, and from time to time it's really daunting to stamp the sentiment later on. It can ruin everything, and in this case you can really play around with placement before saying, okay, this is what I'm going to take. So I definitely think there are multiple options, and if you have other stem sets, of course you have even tons more options. But I decided to use this adorable sentiment from the Joyful Greetings. I'm going to overlap it a tiny bit with the frame as well. So here I am first adding that first frame that is die cut along with my colored panel. Then I took a white frame and I'm just going to use some liquid glue, and I'm going to add it to that other frame. So it's a bit higher. You can add multiple frames, and definitely the dimension, it's a ton of fun. But I'm just a really lazy crafter most of the time, so an extra layer is already a lot for me. I'm going to add the sentiment with some thin foam squares. I found that with the difference in height because of the frame, this was a nice way to sort of get level with the frame as well. Because my sentiment is going to slightly overlap with the frame, sort of gonna hang off of it in my scene. And so I also took the time to have some really thin slivers to really support the complete sentiment. So I'm going to add this and then I'm going to embellish a final bit. So I'm going to add some glossy accents to all of the lights because that's just so much fun to do. And then whenever the recipient notices it, it's really, really a ton of fun. They are lights, they shine. And then I'm also going to add some stickles. They are the Stardust, it's my favorite one from the stickles. I'm going to add those on well those shiny red parts that I have in the tree. I'm going to add that there, just adding a dot everywhere. Depending on how big the sparkle is, I'm adding a bigger dot, and that is going to be my card. A really fresh one, but really a ton of fun to color in. I hope that I could inspire you today. If you haven't seen the new digital stamps, definitely check out social media, the website. You will find it all over there, and it's just a stunning release from these digital stamps. Thank you so much for stopping by. I hope to have inspired you and that you will like the end result. I want to thank you all for being here, and I hope to see you next time again. Bye!